Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Papa Roach rocks MGM National Harbor in Oxon Hill, Maryland on Wednesday night. I spoke with frontman Jacoby Shaddix about the band's biggest hits, from Last Resort to She Loves Me Not, from Scars to Lifeline. Hey, Jacoby, thanks so much for joining us on WTOP.
Dude, it's so good to be on the radio with you, man. How you living?
We're living all right. Well, I'm just happy to be living. After the last 2 years has been absolutely insane. How have you been spending this whole crazy pandemic? Like, when did you guys get back out on the road?
Oh, man. Well, so, we came home when everybody, when it all got locked down. We were out in Europe when it got locked down. So we took the last flights out of Europe, got home, and we're expected to be home for a couple months, and next thing you know, fast forward 2 years, I've lost my mind 3 times over, made a record that we're really proud of. And now finally, we just got back out on the road in the beginning of March, and it feels great, man. The shows are going off. The band's getting along great. It's awesome to play new music. And it's just nice to be able to, get back to this element of my life that I've just been so familiar with for the last 20 plus years.
You just mentioned that you just put together a new album. I assume we'll hear that at the show at National Harbor. Tell me about the new album. What's it called? What are some of the songs we're going to hear?
Straight up album Ego Trip drops April 8th. So you guys can go and pre-save on all platforms, pre-order the album right now on paparoach.com. But this album we're just so very proud of. We really took a lot of time and care and working on this one, and we dug deep stylistically. Like, we really dug into some of the old school vibes of Papa Roach as far as like the riff goes. That was one of the main things on this album. We're like, dude, the guitars just gotta be blazing hot with just sick riffs. And I think we proved that on a track like Kill the Noise, and it's just such a banger. And so there's elements of classic Papa Roach, but it's also a record that's got a lot of modern flavor to it. I'm rapping a bunch on this record. There's lots of melody on this album, and it's a journey. It's 14 songs, and we've released, I believe, like 5 songs already. And the reason we made it a bit of a longer record was because we want to release music before the album comes out, but we want the fans to also be able to have like a slew of songs to dive into and dig into once the album drops. And so, yeah, man, it's been great to play new music on the tour. We've been playing Cut the Line, Kill the Noise, Swerve, and Stand Up in the show, and it's going off great.
Awesome. Well, so that's cool. So everyone that comes to the show in late March, they're gonna hear it before it actually is released. So a little bit of a sneak peek. That's great.
That's what's up, man.
Awesome. Well, whenever I have someone on, I love sort of hearing your own musical journeys. I know you were born in Mariposa, California in 76?
Yeah, that's right, man. Mariposa, California.
Not far from, I guess, what's that, like Central California? Not far from,
yeah. I mean, it's pretty much, it was the sticks, dude, where I was living when I was a little kid. I didn't wear no shoes. I didn't have TV till I was 10. You know what I mean? Like, I had a pretty interesting young childhood growing up in that area. And then eventually, grew up, met my dudes in a high school in a small town called Vacaville. Not much going on there. And Papa Roach was just a way to escape the doldrums of what felt like a dead-end town.
So you met the Papa Roach guys in high school?
Yeah, man. Papa Roach is my first band. I haven't been in any other bands, man. This is my first band. I'm still in it.
Wow, you're one lucky guy to be able to say that. Not everyone can say. Even the biggest stars out there, usually they toiled away in different outfits and finally clicked. But that's really cool that it's been there from the start. Wait, so who was that original lineup? Was Dave Buckner still on drums then? And who was on guitar? Was that Jerry Horton?
That was Jerry Horton on guitar, and that was Dave Buckner on the drums. And Tobin Style, he came into the fold probably like a year later. And it's pretty much been the same lineup, I think, since like 96, 95.
Nice.
95, 94. I don't know. It's been so long, man. But yeah, we've had a member change, obviously, with Dave Buckner leaving the band, and we brought in Tony Palermo, and he's been with us now for 11 years, and it's just, it's a family, man. It really is. And we've made all of our mistakes together in this band, and we've had all of our successes together with this band. And this journey, it's been wild, and we're just so grateful that we're back on this journey out on the road.
That's so great. So the band forms in what, like 93 with the guys you just
Yep.
mentioned, the ones you just mentioned. How do you come up with the name? Were there cockroaches in high school, or how do you come up with Papa Roach?
So my stepdad, his last name's Roach, and my great grandfather, we called him Papa Roach, and we wanted to call the band Papa Gato. And then I was like, nah, dude, Papa Roach, dude, cockroaches live forever. And, here we are 20 some odd years later with a terrible band name that stuck. You know what I mean?
Hey man, I don't think it's terrible at all. Man, I'm telling you, I mean, you say you formed in high school, but there's a bunch of us like myself that your music was our high school. I can put on that triple platinum album Infest, man. I guess it came out in 2000. I was in the pickup truck rocking that. I probably just wore that album out, man.
Hell yeah.
Take me back to, so thank you for that, by the way.
Appreciate
But
it.
yeah, if you got a second, I'd love to dive into some of the big hits on that one. So I know Last Resort obviously is the big iconic one. That probably follows you guys
Mhm.
around everywhere. How'd you come up with that insane guitar riff?
So that insane guitar riff was originally written on piano.
Really?
Tobin was playing that on his piano at his house, and I was just like, "Oh my god, that sounds so good, dude!" When you play it on piano, it almost reminds me of something that would be on like Fuji's The Score. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But then when you put it on distorted guitar and drums and bass, all of a sudden, this thing that was sounded so beautiful then just turned into something menacing and hard. And it just had such a vibe. And the lyrics, the melody, Cut My Life into Pieces, that melody was on a different song. And then I put those lyrics on top of this music, and I was just like, it just stuck. Everybody in the room, when we were rehearsing, it was just like, this really is something special. And when we went out and we were playing this thing live before we recorded it, before we had a record deal, fans would always play that one again. That's so sick, because we were playing teen centers and bars and garage parties and backyard keggers, like that's how we started. And this song was born in that era of our career. And then we went in and recorded it. Next thing you know, it's just a worldwide mega hit.
It really
It
is.
blows my mind.
It's a phenomenon. Well,
Yeah,
that's
it's a
cool that
trip.
it began on the piano. But the guitar riff's so sick. But
Yep.
lyrically, I mean, it's got the whole thing. It seems like a big a suicide thing. What did you intend that? So was that like a? Is it like a someone the narrator of the song? Is that like a cry for help? Is it a cautionary tale? Is it a warning to help people that might be struggling with that? How do you sort of present? What's your take on it?
It's the story that I sang in first person about my best friend that I was living with, and he was going through this dark downward spiral. And it ended in him attempting suicide, and he did not succeed, thank God. And now, years later, his life is completely different. He's got a beautiful family. He's got a wife that he's been married to for 20 plus years. He's got two awesome kids. And so the story is beautiful, and it's inspired so many people, and been a beacon of light to a lot of people out there, of understanding that these feelings you might have these feelings, but don't make a permanent decision to a temporary problem. You know what I mean? And we've met so many people across the world that say that song in particular, quote, like, saved their life.
Wow.
And man, I've heard that so many times. And if that's true, like, that just shows you how powerful music can be. It can be a beacon of light when somebody's in the darkest of places. And I think that man, if that's all I had to offer to the world through music, like, mission accomplished, man. Like, it was a positive thing. And but fortunately, we've been able to write record after record after record, and really continue to connect with people in an authentic way through our music throughout the years. And that's been something about Papa Roach that has remained steadfast, is this music is coming from an authentic place. It's real. and it connects. And I'm humbled, man.
Oh, and I'm glad you said that you've been able to keep it going record after record after record, because so many people, when they hear Papa Roach, of course, Last Resort, boom, that's like the,
Yeah.
iconic thing. But I want people, when they're hearing this interview, and I even did it myself, even going back, just researching, before we hopped on here, even I, who count myself as a big Papa Roach fan, even I had forgotten how many friggin' hits and songs of yours that I knew. People are. I'm seriously like, for instance, "Broken Home." As soon as that comes on, I'm like, oh yeah, "Broken Home," All Alone. What were you going for? I mean, that's a great. To me, I take it as like a generational family trauma kind of a thing. You get it from your parents, and you kind of have broken home yourself sometimes. But what inspired that?
Just growing up in a broken home, straight up,
Mm-hmm.
and expressing that story and coming to terms with it. You know what I mean? And fortunately, I am not repeating that cycle. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
Me and my wife, we're married. We'll be married in July now for 25 years.
Oh, congrats, man!
And that's my ride or die. You know what I mean? We're gonna get old and wrinkly together. And a lot of people throw in the towel, man. But when rubber meets the road, like, I don't want to repeat that cycle of abandonment and brokenness. There's so many families that are falling apart and continue to fall apart. I feel like that's one of the major, like, the root issues of a lot of the problems in this world is the broken family dynamic. You know what I mean? It just it scars people. It breaks people at a young age, and a lot of people, it's hard to come back from that. And just writing music from an honest place.
I love it. Tell me about Between Angels and Insects. That's another one everyone will know. There's no money, there's no possessions. That's one of those, like, warning. It's a social commentary, really, against greed in the system. I think there's even a line that you say, what's the line? "You're a slave to the system, working jobs you hate for stuff you don't need. Too bad the world based on greed." That kind of says it all. But what caused you to write it? Just sort of sitting back, like, around the turn of the millennium, realizing that, I guess it was before the recession, before everything collapsed. You kind of saw it, I guess.
I mean, for me, it's like I grew up poor, and growing up poor, there were still times in my life where we were incredibly happy. Like, it didn't take things to make us happy. It was the positive relationships in my life, the relationships with my friends, the relationship with my mother. Also beyond that, right? I know money, like, it doesn't solve all the problems, but it can solve problems, right? That's the reality. Like, paying bills and taking care of the necessities, like, that's the real. But it's greed that is the punisher of the people, man. Because it's like chasing the wind. At some point, you see these, ultra gazillion bazillionaires, and it's like, that don't solve their problems, man. You hear story after story about these rich people blowing out their brains. You know what I mean?
More money, more problems in a lot of cases.
Yeah, it's a bad place. So it's never the pursuit of the dollar has never been my North Star. You know what I'm saying? I'm going for, like, I want to be a happy human. You know what I mean? And it just, unfortunately, a lot of war is about greed and power. A lot of the issues that we have in society stem from greed. You think about these medical companies that, for instance, there was a drug for cystic fibrosis. My friend, their son had cystic fibrosis, and there was this new drug that became available on the market, but it was so exponentially priced so high out of their price range that they weren't able to get the medicine for their son because their insurance company wouldn't cover it, right? And it's like, that's the type of greed. I don't stand for that. I stand against that. I rage against that. It's disgusting. And but that's the way of the world right now, It's not my world.
You and me both, brother. We keep raging against it. And that song captured it perfectly. Well, it's hard to believe all three of those songs we mentioned were all on that first album or that album.
Totally.
So, but off the heels of that, you get nominated at the Grammys for Best New Artist in 2001. I mean, the category was stacked. It was Brad Paisley, Jill Scott, Cisco, Shelby Lynn, I think, who eventually won. But any memories of that night? I mean, just going and being amongst, all these famous musicians, and suddenly Papa Roach is here to stay.
Yeah, we have better shit to do, dude. We're on tour. We're like, we're gonna play rock shows for our fans instead of rub elbows with a bunch of
Oh, so you
dimwits.
didn't even go?
Nah,
All right, right on,
it's cool.
right on.
It's a nice honor. It really is a nice honor. But we're on tour. We had to rock. You know what I mean? It's funny.
I love to hear that.
Yeah, we got nominated for another one this year for best remix. But I don't even know if the Grammys have happened. Have they happened? If they did, we lost.
No, they delayed it because of COVID. So you might still have a chance. Who knows? But
yeah,
not that you really care. You'll be touring anyway.
Hey man, that's right. We actually will be on tour probably.
Cool.
Which is great.
Cool. Well, if you got a second, I love to remind our other listeners. I mean, Love, Hate, Tragedy was a great album after that with She Loves Me Not, Fighting All the Time. Is It Out of Line? Great song. Why do you think so many people can relate to that? I feel like a lot of people get to a spot, like a rut in their relationship, and got to power through.
Oh yeah, man. It's like being in a relationship is tough. Compromise is tough. I've been told that I'm a selfish bastard. And at moments in my life that is true. And it's getting through those tough times, like taking, when the relationship breaks or it falls apart a little. It's like you're picking up the pieces, and that glue that you put that thing back together with is like, it makes you stronger. And so
you realized you had to compromise.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? I like to joke, like, a true compromise is when both sides are equally unhappy. That's kind of a negative outlook of it, but it's important, man. It really is. I mean, I was just on the phone earlier today and trying to deal with a certain situation with my wife. We started butting heads, getting at it. I'm just like, God, it's so difficult sometimes. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to step away for a minute, and we're going to reapproach this a little bit later today. I'm sure we can figure it out. You know what I mean? And
Papa reapproach.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes you just got to, approach it from the backside.
I love it. I love it. Album after that, Getting Away with Murder, Scars. Everyone will know that one. I tear my heart open. I sold myself short. That whole thing. Tell me about the creation of that. I'd love to hear the stories of how these songs came together. But Scars is
man.
a great one.
Scars is it was just so different at the time for us, right? When the band brought the music, it just hit me a different way. And I knew that there was something special about it. And I had been in the throes of my alcoholism for a few years at this point, and hit rock bottom. And the song is about dealing with somebody that's got a real problem that they don't want to face. And in reality, that the song is about me, but I sing it from the other person's perspective. I'm singing this from my wife and my friend's perspective, just saying, listen, like, sorry, man, if you don't change, I got to move on without you. And it was a wake up call for me, something really had to change in my life. And I at that time, it was the first time I put the bottle down, and it was a struggle for me for a while. I went back and forth in and out of sobriety. Fortunately now I got 10 years without drinking, which is a major milestone for me.
Congrats on this St. Patrick's Day. Congrats.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Today's the day where you just go poison yourself safely. No, I can't do it. It doesn't work for me.
Congrats, man. That's a big deal.
Yeah, dude. I mean, really and truly, it gave me an opportunity to have a life and have a career, because I was a hopeless case. And it was at a time in our musical career where it was like, we weren't sure if this thing was going to continue. And we put this record out, and we sold like 1.5 million records, and it changed the trajectory of our career once again.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you. You've been generous with your time. We would be here all day if we talked all of them, but you know,
Yeah,
for,
man, for real.
we'd be here forever. That was another one. I mean, there's To Be
But
Loved, but there's so many of them.
yeah.
But one more before we run. Lifeline. That was a big one. You know, I've been looking for a
Oh yeah.
lifeline for what feels like a lifetime. How did that dovetail into anything you were just talking to me about, you know, trying to get sober, or what, where was the idea behind that one?
That's just a story of a man struggling. You know, a lot of this music really comes from my trials and tribulations and falling flat on my face. And I guess I just had to come to a point and have some humility and reach out for help. That would have been my problem and my struggle for so long, is that I'd try to like do everything my way without anybody's input or constructive criticism. And I finally came to a point in my life where I was humbled enough by my failures to go, I don't have this figured out. You know, God, like that was a straight like cry for help to God, to be honest, man. And it's trippy, man, when I reached out and I really like put it out there and was willing to like listen to, quote, what I call my higher power God, like listen to my higher power and allow to surrender to a higher power. It was another really I guess pinnacle moment in my life, you know, another life-changing moment, you know, where I gained a spiritual life. And you know, hey man, I ain't perfect. I ain't judging nobody else. I'm just judging myself. And I've been a train wreck here and there, and this music has definitely been a source of strength and also a healthy outlet for me to work through some of these issues I got.
So humbling yourself before a higher power. So yeah, I have read that you're a pretty devout Christian these days. Talk about how, if there's any other listeners here, and you know, I'm not trying to whatever
Yeah,
evangelicalize to anybody,
no, I'm totally.
but just tell them about how it's helped your own life, how you feel, you know, born again and all that stuff.
Yeah, man. You know, I got friends that are, some of my closest friends are atheists. There's one dude that I'm real close with, I'm good friends with. He's satanic. You know what I mean? And I've educated myself in different lanes of spirituality. And what I found in my life is when I live my life by my will, which kind of goes in line with the satanic view, is, you know, do as thou wilt, right? Well, when I do how I want to do things and when I live that way, I always find myself in a foxhole praying for a way out, going, I need help. I'm a mess. I'm a wreck. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it just was really like an honest call to a higher power. And the last thing, honestly, the last thing I ever wanted to do was be sober and follow God and follow Jesus. You know what I mean? And, but here I am years later, and it's like, it's just been such a healthy growth for me to humble myself and to gain a spiritual perspective. And you know, I don't follow Christians, I follow Jesus. That's it. I'm not here to judge nobody else, because I see, you know, these Westboro Baptist people, they're monsters, dude. They're hateful. That's not what I believe. I believe that love, acceptance, inclusion, tolerance of other people, that's the way to peace. Judgment upon another human is not the way to peace. And so that's the path I walk, man. And I'm just trying to get right for myself and for my family, you know, and for my people around me. And so it's just the path I walk, and I judge no one else on their spiritual path at all. That's not my purpose. You know what I mean? It's a personal relationship that I walk, you know what I mean?
You said it perfectly, man. And I'm relating so much to everything you're saying. I mean, as I was
Yeah.
raised, Christian, but then you see all these, the things done in the name of Christianity. You're like, wait a minute,
It's
that's not what
terrible.
Jesus, it ties into your angels and insects thing about, the world
Yeah,
based on greed and judgment. And Jesus would be flipping over the money tables.
absolutely.
It seemed like it got bastardized so much, but when you get down to the kernel of what the actual teachings of Christ are, I'm all about that. I believe
It's a
in Christ.
beautiful
So
thing.
yeah, it is.
Absolutely.
We got a lot deeper than I thought we would on this. But
Hey, you know, that's how it goes sometimes, dude.
yeah, man. Well, but bringing it full circle, I assume we'll hear all of these songs that we've mentioned, as well as the new ones that are coming out next month on the new album. I assume we'll hear all of these
Yes,
at
sir.
MGM National Harbor on March 23rd here in the DC area. Just final seconds. Why should we come on out? Talk directly to our listeners. Tell them why it'll be a good time.
Oh, dude, because I am just so dang excited to be on tour again, man. And it's going to be a rip roaring greatest hits banger of a set list. And, you never know when it's going to get shut down again. So we got to take this opportunity to rock out. So get your ass out to the rock show. Let's do this, man. I can't wait.
All right. Well, it's been great talking with you, Jacoby. I mean, it really, really was.
Absolutely, man. Great chatting with you, too. And to the listeners out there, we're bringing Hollywood Undead and Bad Wolves with us, too. So it's going to be sick.
All right. Have a good one. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you, too, bro.
Thanks so much for joining us on Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Remember to hit the subscribe button and give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time. I wanted to take a second to tell you about an app I really enjoy. Living in the DC area is great, and Podcast DC gathers all of the local shows that I like all in one local app. Health, sports, local news, politics, and so much more. Podcast DC is the new local app with hundreds of DC area podcasts to choose from. I can earn exciting rewards just for listening and share the podcasts I love instantly. Available in the App Store or in Google Play, listen local with Podcast DC.